It was an ordinary day, but for Marilia, that moment would change her life forever. Married to Ricardo for decades, she had a stable, peaceful and routine life. They loved each other, but in a silent way, without any major emotions or adventures. Until, while walking through the city, Marilia stopped on a busy street and heard a peculiar sound, a soft crick-cree, coming from a small shadow in the middle of the flower bed. She approached, curious, and saw a cricket there, somewhat different from the others. It had a vibrant green color, almost shiny, and its eyes seemed to communicate a rare intelligence. When she bent down to observe, the cricket looked at her with a penetrating gaze and smiled, as if it recognized her. "Well, well, you don't see such a beautiful lady every day," said the cricket, leaving Marilia open-mouthed. Marilia's heart raced, her face flushed, and somehow she felt an inexplicable attraction to the little insect. Days passed, and she continued to visit the cricket, now named Claudio by her. The two spent hours talking about everything: life, dreams, and the freedom of being able to jump and sing in the wind. At each meeting, Marilia felt something different, a new flame in her chest, something she had never experienced with Ricardo. Claudio had a sophisticated sense of humor, an engaging charisma, and a presence that made Marilia feel alive and desired in an almost magical way. Over time, their passion grew, and Marilia made an unusual decision. She left Ricardo to marry Claudio, the talking cricket. It was a discreet ceremony, outdoors, in a hidden clearing. Marilia was radiant in a simple white dress, while Claudio, with his shiny green skin, waited for her next to wildflowers. The two danced in the moonlight, and for Marilia, that was the most beautiful moment of her life. Years passed, and Marilia and Claudio lived together for many decades. They had children, little critters who, surprisingly, inherited human traits and seemed to understand and respond to Marilia with a sweet and intelligent look. The family was an unusual mix of humanity and nature, an enchanted universe that only Marilia seemed to fully understand. She walked through the streets with her critters, attracting everyone's attention, although she never noticed the strange expressions she received from passers-by. For her, everything was perfect. One day, after 70 years with Claudio, Marilia was surprised by an unexpected visit. An elderly man with a tired look entered her room. He looked at her with tenderness, sadness, and deep empathy. Marilia looked at him without understanding, confused, and asked, "Who are you? Where is my Claudio?" "Marilia, it's me, Ricardo, your husband. I've been coming here all these years, ever since you were brought to the hospital, more than 30 years ago. You're here, but your mind has always been somewhere else." Marilia felt a shock pass through her body. She looked around and realized that she was not in the countryside, nor surrounded by the little shackled children she loved so much. She was in a white room, surrounded by padded walls, and reality began to fade in her mind. Memories of a colorful world, full of adventures and fantasies, began to blur with the harsh truth that Ricardo had just revealed to her. So, all of this, Claudio, my children, was it all a lie? Ricardo held her hands affectionately and, with a tender smile, replied, "Marilia, for you it was real, and I come here because there is nothing I wouldn't do to see you smile. I love you, and I always have, even when your world became distant from mine." She began to cry, feeling the weight of her own reality. But at the same time, a small spark of hope shone in her eyes. "Ricardo, would you do one last thing for me?" He nodded, willing to do anything that would make her happy. "Dress up as a cricket, Ricardo. Just one last time. Sing to me like Claudio would, and dance for me on the balcony. I want my last memory to be like the days before." Ricardo hesitated for a moment, but soon agreed. The next day, he returned, dressed in green, with antennas and a carefully planned outfit. Even though he was an elderly man, he jumped and sang like the cricket she loved. Marilia, from the window, laughed and cried at the same time, in a mixture of nostalgia and joy. That last dance for her was proof of an eternal love, a farewell that made her feel alive and loved. And so, we end this exciting story full of surprises. If you enjoyed this journey of love and imagination, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. Let's share this story with the world and spread a little more love and fantasy.